today's video, I will be telling you the best way to take down the bosses that are out inside of DMZ and Warzone. And also you can unlock this brand new submachine gun skin for the Bass P called the Bloody Mess. Now more specifically, I do recommend for you to complete these inside of DMZ. They're actually not that difficult, and personally I ended up doing this all solo, even though I did get players to help me out during the game. So if you are a solo player, there's a very high chance that you might get lucky for other players to recruit you back after they murder you, which is kind of sad. But if you do want players, we do have a Discord server down in the description, or even in the comment section. Maybe you can find some other players to help you out, as that definitely will be a huge, well, help towards this challenge. One other thing I forgot to mention is all of these challenges will be refreshing, so if you hop into a game and somebody does this boss before you, don't worry, after a while it will refresh and you can go again. So that's a really nice thing they added. First one that we're gonna go over is the Butcher, and this is probably one of the craziest one. It starts off quite insane. For this one, what you have to do is take down the Butcher. But how do you do this? Well, once you load into Al-Mazrah, you can actually also complete this on Vondel, but I personally did this on Al-Mazrah. You have to look for the altar, which looks like this. If you do spawn quite far away on DMZ from this, personally I recommend for you to look for a vehicle as fast as possible and get there, well, as fast as possible. Once you're there, there will be 5 altars on each one of the corners of the star on the ground, and what you'll have to do is activate them, wait until the bar fills up, and you'll have to redo this multiple times until each one of the lines connecting together will be highlighted red. During this, there will be zombies spawning in, and the cool thing with this is they're actually pretty slow and they're very easy to take down, and this is a really good way of farming souls inside of the game, which are really useful for unlocking pretty cool goodies inside of Modern Warfare 2 right now, and especially the hunting event. Now during this, the unfortunate thing is you can be gangbanged by players and taken down. Thankfully inside of my game, I was lucky enough to continue without any players. Now once you fully complete the ritual and power up each one of the lines, a portal will appear, and this is where the game gets quite insane. Once you go through the portal, you will be teleported to essentially the Gulag from what it seems, but totally reskinned, and it's almost like you're fighting just the Gulag minigun boss, but not really. This time around obviously it's the Butcher, and one thing I will recommend for you straight away with these bosses is do not get close to them, because they essentially have a finisher, and when they do this finisher on you, they just insta down you after they do a pretty cool insane animation, but you pay the small price of basically going down. Now what you have to do in here is take him down, and one thing I did notice was, oh wait, I don't have any ammo, so what am I supposed to do? Well, thankfully all the zombies that are around the place that are super slow, overall running away from the boss and the zombies isn't too difficult, but they all do actually drop you loot. That's armor, different types of ammo and stuff like that, which is huge help. And he does have a lot of health, and he does actually have an attack that he starts doing after his like first stage that you can tell by his health bar, where he starts slamming the ground. And the unfortunate thing with this is once you open the portal, players can come through it, so you might have some extra action. This did end up happening inside of my game, but thankfully the players did actually help me out, brought me back up. And the cool thing with these is even if you, let's say, damage the boss as much as you can and you die and nobody wants to rescue you, all you have to do is chill around like in the like plea area. If you do that and nobody decides to revive you, it still counts as your challenge, because this did end up happening with one of the bosses. So as long as you damage them, or at least from what I'm understanding have any effect on these boss fights, you will be able to continue. And after you defeat the boss, he will drop you a bunch of insane loot, from armor to like a huge Butcher thing that is 66,006, or well 66, basically 666. It's kind of like a cool nod, and obviously this is a Diablo thing, so you also unlock something for Diablo itself. From also my understanding, you will basically be able to use the Butcher's meat hook inside of Diablo 4, so that's interesting. And that's kind of it for the Butcher. There's nothing more. You do have to escape after you're done. Moving on to the next boss, which is called the Swamp Creature. This one is actually quite easy to do in solo because there's a lot of swamp creatures. It's quite difficult to take down, but once you spawn in and go over to the MWII marshlands, let's just call them marshlands, there will be these like weird pod eggs that when you open them will have money and other stuff like that inside of them. But when you do this, the swamp monsters will start spawning in. And the thing is, I did notice that it's more than one, so sometimes you can get one to spawn in, you'll damage it a bunch and then it'll disappear, and from my understanding different ones will end up spawning in each time. But if you go on top of the land and let's say loot stuff and instantly run on top of the land, I don't recommend sticking around in the water because you will be slow. You will be able to take them down pretty fast. Obviously aim for their heads, and I don't really know if weapons really matter for this. From what I've used was a combination of the Vault Edition weapon that you get and like the ISO assault rifle, so it felt pretty good. I took them down down fairly fast. Obviously I ran into some players. Unfortunately I was kind of meaner than other people where I just ended up fighting everyone because I was terrified for my life. And after taking them down, they will drop you goodies, armor, money and stuff like that, and you will make progress. Remember, as long as you damage them and other players kill them for you, it will still count, since it did for me. Moving on to the Pharaoh, this one is also very interesting. It is going to be located at the Oasis, and they're all actually marked on their map, just like we talked about the first one. Once you make your way over there, you will have to go inside of a tomb where there will be basically like this effect on your screen where he'll tell you some stuff to do, blah blah blah. I could barely understand it most of the time. It was too chaotic, getting scared and stuff like that. Well, what you have to do here is essentially collect red skulls that you can find with AI around the place. Once you kill the AI, they will drop you this red skull, and you do need around 8, I think, or maybe 10 of them. When you gather these skulls, you have to go over to the Pharaoh's grave, which if you mark it, you can figure out exactly where it is. It's kind of like a maze to get through, but once you do it once, you should figure it out. Once you do this, it kind of pranks you. He's like, oh, I'm gonna do whatever you want, and then he spawns in. With this one, I did struggle a lot, and unfortunately that was just because players decided to spawn in. Once he spawns in, just unload all of your magazines onto him as much as you can. This one I figured out that other players, if they defeat the boss and you've damaged it quite a lot or even progressed in it, it will count for you. I was pretty disappointed because I was like, wow, nobody's gonna revive me, nobody's gonna help me out, but it still ended up working out. So as long as you do that, it's pretty easy, and this one wasn't too difficult to do. Moving on to the UFO, this is another one of my favorites, was the Butcher, just because I'm a zombies fanboy, and this is essentially just Infinite Warfare zombies, which is really cool and nice to see. What you have to do here is go over to the Sawa village coastline, and what you have to do here is shoot an orb inside of the sky until it turns into 3 other orbs that can shoot at you. Unfortunately, shoot those 3 orbs, and then after that the alien spaceship will spawn in, which has a very similar thing like the previous orbs. Shoot the spaceship until it goes down, and once you do this, it will spawn in this kind of like uplink thing, best way to describe it, where you can pick up this special orb and deliver it to a portal that is on top of the ship. So once you destroy the spaceship, the alien spaceship, the piece will fly off, and then you'll have to run up to it, pick it up, run back to the ship, place it down again. In this one I did end up doing it with other players just because they ended up killing me. Everybody will be going for these, so you will be stumbling upon a lot of players, so do bear that in mind. But once you do this, again, a bunch of goodies, cool armor, stuff like that, which will be a huge help to set you up overall for DMZ as a mode itself. And again, if you do the damage in any kind of way, it should count as the calling card and completion towards unlocking the brand new bloody mess weapon. Moving on to the Ghost Train, this one is actually quite challenging, and I wasn't sure if I was doing it correctly, but all you have to do is find the train and do it before other players get on it. What you have to do here is progress your way through this train. Biggest thing is, if you haven't done this yet, make sure to be careful on this train, and the main reason for this is it is booby trapped like crazy. So go in with a self revive, go in with armor, and this one can be done solo, but again, since there's so many people going for it, you will run into teams, and all you have to do is get to the very end and open the safe at the very end, and that's all you have to do. Just make your way through the whole thing. I think you have to specifically make your way through it, and again, it's just booby trapped like crazy, so definitely be cautious, look out for those traps. You will probably miss a bunch. It's one where you will end up going down a lot, but it's not too difficult to do. And now on to the last one, the Evil Spirit one. This one requires you to find a Reaper by looting containers in Al-Safwa Quarry, find a Ghoul in Al-Mazrah, find a Specter in Al-Bagra Fortress, and find a Witch in Al-Malik Airport. This one is actually quite easy to do, and all you have to do is get jump scared for it. That's essentially it. So what you have to do is look for chests and just hope you get jump scared in that location. When you get jump scared in that location, I do believe it can rotate through some stuff, so just try to open as many containers in that area as you can. If there's a fortress there and you get the key or have a key to get in, definitely do, and you should get this one fairly easily. You do have to go to 4 different locations, which is like the only challenging thing with this, but if you complete the other 5 challenges, you will unlock the brand new submachine gun skin, and if you don't, it doesn't really matter. It is quite easy, nothing too challenging. It's definitely one of the easier ones out of the other 5, but it's also more time consuming because you have to go to different locations. Hopefully this did help you in some kind of way. If you liked the video in any kind of way, be sure to subscribe, be sure to drop a like at the video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.